later. So let's go to our first speaker, all the way to Tasmania, which is on the southern, if you go all the way to Australia, and you go to the bottom right-hand side of Australia, and you jump over the small amount of water between Australia and Tasmania, that is where he is. This is Sriman Lila Sukha Prabhu. I'm really, really happy that he's speaking today, because not only did he have association with Srila Gurudev, he has had association, he has association, because of course the Vani is present tense, the Vapu may be past tense, but he had Vapu association with Srila Bhakti-Rakshak Srila Maharaj, who is really one of my favorite acharyas. His writing, his mood is so extraordinary. So I'm always excited to meet devotees who had his association. Prabhu first met the devotees in Texas in the United States in 1980. And he took Harinam from Bhakti-Rakshak Srila Maharaj and Diksha in 1986. And he met Gurudev on Gurudev's first tour of Australia, which was in 1997. So Prabhu, please offer us your beautiful Pushpanjali. Very, very warm welcome. You're amongst family here, so no nerves. Just imagine you're on your sofa in your front room and we're just having a chat. Hari Bol, Dandavat Pranams.
Dandavat. Om Gana Tamandasya Gana Gana Salakaya Chaksur Minitamyana Tasmai Sri Gurve Namaha. I offer my obeisances to that Gurudev who, with spiritual knowledge, has opened my eyes and removed the darkness of ignorance from this material world. And how has Guru done this? He's done this with spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge that is given to us is mostly coming through hearing, through listening to him. And when Krishna left Vraj and he entered into Mathura, it resembled Krishna leaving the spiritual world and entering into the material world. And Guru, he represents Krishna for us. He leaves Vraj and he comes. Gurudev would leave Vraj and he'd come to the Western world to preach to us, to give us this spiritual knowledge. When Krishna entered Mathura, all of the Mathuravasis there, they saw him differently according to their different moods. And the cowherd boys that were there, they saw him. They had Sakyabhav. They saw Krishnas in terms of, oh, that's our friend. In the older Mathura Ramanis, they saw particularly the ladies. They had some parental affection for Krishna and said, oh, this is we have to protect him. This is a very unfair fight for this little boy to fight with these great big wrestlers, Chandra and Mustika. And Kamsa, he saw Krishna as death personified. And the Mathura Ramanis, they had heard about Krishna's pastimes with the gopis, and they were thinking, oh, how much fortune the gopis have, that they saw him in his Braj mood, in his Braj dress with a peacock feather, where we see him with he's just killed a giant elephant, and him and Balaram have got little speckles of blood and elephant tusk over their shoulders. So all of these five primary rasas were there, but there's also the 7 secondary rasas, the Hasa, Abhuta, Vira, Karuna, Rudra, Vibhats, and Bhai. And I wanted to speak about these today in terms of my association I had with Gurudev, because I was so fortunate. So from something like 10 years, I got to travel the world with Gurudev and saw him in so many different settings and so many different situations. And I personally got to experience all of these different rasas coming from Gurudev. And so I'll begin with Hashya Ras, this ras of laughter, of jubilation. in France, south of France, Toulouse. We're having festival there once, and Gurudev had he liked to spontaneously ask for plays to be put on, and he would Lalit Mohan and myself and different devotees at different times. So there were always the two of us. We put on this play of the Bhagavad Gita, where the guru has given his disciple the Bhagavad Gita to study, and then he's left him alone. But the disciple has he's come into difficulties. He can't. The mice have eaten his Bhagavad Gita, so he's got to get a cat, and then the cat is starving, so he has to get a cow, and then he's too busy with the milking the cow, so he has to get a wife, and then the wife is upset, so he has to get children. And Gurudev had asked Lalit Mohan and I to spontaneously put this play on one night, and it was in there were lots and lots of children there at that festival in Toulouse, and Lalit I didn't know he'd organize this, but I was the good neighbor, Mr. Patel, giving him advice to get the cat and to get the cow and to get the wife and to give the wife children. And when it came up to the time for him to get children, he had organized for dozens and dozens of these French children to come up, and they were all his children, and they were running around. And the wife of Janabajivan, who had some experience harassing her husband, was chastising him, and it was such a scene. And Gurudev just cracked up with laughter. It was so funny that the material world had just overwhelmed this brahmachari disciple in such a mood, and so overwhelming, with all the children and the wife harassing him. And Gurudev was laughing, saying, "Oh, see, this is your life." So that's the laughter pastimes that I saw of Gurudev. Now moving on, Hasa Abhuta, bewilderment. We were back in Australia. I used to have a bullock cart that I would bring to the festivals. I had one bull here that I would come to the festival, and Gurudev was staying. I was also staying there with my bull and cart, and the program was not far away, maybe only 3 blocks away. And one day Gurudev asked me, "Oh, bring my bull." He wanted to go by bullock cart to the program. So we went through this suburban neighborhood in Australia by bullock cart with a kirtan behind, and all of the people in the neighborhood that heard the kirtan, they'd come out to the front door and they'd open up, and just in astonishment, they'd look out and they would see that here was this beautiful Indian sannyas in a bullock cart with a kirtan leading them through the streets in front of their house. And with that astonishment, I looked back at Gurudev, because I was driving the cart, and his face was just full of astonishment, reflecting that astonishment from these people. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, this is preaching." And I said, "Okay, this is preaching in the mode of astonishment, astonishing people to remember the kirtan and to in the names of Krishna." Now, for the third secondary rasa, Hasa Bhuta Vira. Vira, this mood of conquering. I am this chivalry mood. I was fortunate enough to go with Gurudev the first time we went to Costa Rica after the program in California, Badger program, Los Angeles program. We got so many devotees where Ramesh had invited us, said he'd look after all of us in San Jose if we could make it to Costa Rica. So we chartered pretty much half of a flight, and about maybe there were 40 of us or something that went to Costa Rica. And when we arrived, there was an ISKCON sannyas who was coming through, and he saw Gurudeva, and the two stopped and showed some respect and pleasantries to each other. And then after he left, Gurudev looked at us and he said, "Oh, how many people are traveling with him?" Because he had one brahmachari with him. And he said, "Now, how many are traveling with me?" And he moved his finger out across the airport there, because there were about 40 of us traveling with Gurudev. Okay, now the Hasa Bhuta Vira Karuna, mercy. How merciful Gurudev could be. So many, everybody knows the pastimes of Gurudev. Everywhere he goes, he's giving his mercy. Probably some of the more merciful times I've had with Gurudev is he let me let me hear the Gayatri mantra from his lotus lips again. I'd heard it the first time from Srila Maharaj, but only briefly got explanations. But 3 more times I got to hear it from Gurudev and hear his explanations, because I'd introduce somebody that was taking Diksha mantras, so I could he allowed me to sit and listen to the mantras and the meanings again. He was so merciful to me in that way. Also, Bhuta Vira Karuna Rudra, the anger. How pastimes of Gurudev being angry. The one that comes to my mind the most is because he was angry at me. And it was in Alachua in Florida. The first time we went there, I was staying with some devotees a little bit distance from them, and I was dependent upon the devotees to get us to the morning walk. I always like to go on the morning walk. You arrived early. You could go up, you could give your dandavats to Gurudev, you could touch his feet before he started the walk. And it was something I looked forward to, but my ride was late one day. And I thought, oh no, I'm late. And I get there and Gurudev has already started walking, and he stopped and he's talking to people. He's speaking Harikatha to the different devotees. They're asking questions. And I'm looking and say, oh, geez, I'm really feeling, geez, I didn't get to touch Gurudev's feet today. I'm wondering, well, there's his feet right there. So I did a silly thing. While he was speaking, I just knelt down and I quickly and softly touched Gurudev's feet, but he felt it. And just, oh, hey, who's touching my feet? And oh, no, geez, this wasn't right. I know I should have known better than that. Because the words that are emanating from Guru's mouth, you don't disrespect those in order to take the dust of his lotus feet. I knew that all along. I just became overwhelmed with some immature desire to take the dust of his feet. And he asked, who is it? Who is this? And then when they told him, oh, it's Lila Sukha. And then he realized, oh, he's somebody traveling with me. He's somebody that should have known better. And he's somebody that's not going to leave me just because I become angry. And he became so angry with me, made such an example of me for everybody else to know it there, that the words emanating from the Guru's lotus mouth are the highest. You don't disrespect those to take the dust of his lotus feet, even as much as you want, and as high as mercy as that is. Okay, now with Hasa Bhuta Vira Karuna Rudra Vibhats to discuss the pastime I saw where Gurudev was most disgusted. We had this bull and cart that I had in Australia. I came to a festival in my godbrothers had a festival in his farm in Willenbar Vrajabalava, and in the morning walks I had the bull in the cart out there, where Gurudev would come to the morning walk and he would give me and the bull some mercy. He'd get in the cart and we'd give him a little cart ride up and down a quite isolated road, because it was early in the morning. He got out of the cart and he asked me, he was curious, because he asked me, how much is this? Because it was really nice looking, very well behaved bull. And he asked, how much is a bull like this worth in Australia? And I was a little bit surprised with the question. So I just told Gurudev what I knew. It's, oh, Gurudev, they in Australia they sell this bull they'd sell by the kilo, and Guru would say what? He didn't understand what it meant. So he turned to Brajanath, and Brajanath explained what it meant when they sold in Australia they sold cows and bulls by the kilo, and he became so disgusted when he realized that this is what they were doing in this country, that he started thumping me in the chest, and he ordered me, do never ever sell that bull. And I said, of course not, of course not. We don't do that. Now the Vibhats and Bai, the last what to talk about is fear. Pastimes. This is one that I haven't seen so much in Gurudev, but we were in Jagannath Puri. It was Prosatoma month, and we were doing Parakrama of Jagannath Puri, and we'd finished our Parakram near where the original Jagannath deities were, the log that the original Jagannath deities were found. It was near where Gurudev's the ashram where he departed from. And the devotee said, all right, we'll go swimming in the sea. But one of the Gaurachandra, he dove into the water and broke his neck. And when he came out, it was he had, of course, he had to go to the hospital. He was in traction. And that night, Gurudev, from the Vyasasan, he was begging all of us to donate to help with the because Gaurasundar, because he needed an operation to put a titanium plate in his neck to get him out of traction. And I came up to Gurudev, said, you can give me donations directly. And I said, okay, I'll take advantage of this. So I managed to stand up and get through the masses of people to give a donation directly to Gurudev. And I say he had fear because he was fearful for the outcome of his devotee. He wasn't certain how this was going to come out. And what later I heard that actually the operation, maybe it got him out of traction, but when he finally got back to America, he had to have it redone because the operation hadn't been done properly. So it was a very very unique sort of experience to actually Gurudev could have fear as well, because that is one of the secondary rasas. There, all of these rasas I found present in Gurudev, and they come out at certain times to glorify to show his glories even more. So I think maybe I've covered everything, and probably my 30 minutes I might have covered that as well. So I'll leave it here and thank the devotees, for all of the devotees that have helped me, that inspired me to remember some of these pastimes of Gurudev and explain them to as best as I can. Vanchakalpatrubhyaścha kripasinivevata patitanam pavanivo vaishnavyo namo namaha.
Prabhu, that was really incredibly beautiful, and something I'd never thought of doing, because some people come on and they concentrate on the Vapu relationship, so they'll share various really sweet pastimes they had with Gurudev, and then some people kind of go the orthodox route and they're that purely Divani, but and some people integrate the two, and you're in the third category. You've actually explained all the rasas by demonstrating them through how they're expressed and exhibited through Gurudev's actual behavior, and that's really brilliant. That seed of that idea is really brilliant, and I really appreciate that, because Gurudev, the amazing thing about Gurudev is he was also able to exhibit changes of mood at the spin of a coin. I mean, he could go from one very grave mood to a mood of laughter extremely quickly and back again. So, and actually he always kept us on our toes, because we never knew actually what mood he was going to be in. Yeah, that's very special. Thank you so much.